Hi everyone, welcome back to A Sky Full of Stars, Divergence Route A, Episode 3, where Hikari's farewell party just ended, and it's now night, and for some reason, Hikari made a quick dash to the stop and buy convenience store, and it's because Akito revealed that he read the love letter that Hikari is trying to get back from him. So, the letter is not written by Hikari, but from Saya. So Saya has feelings for Akito, but is afraid to say so, and that's why she wrote the letter and had Hikari deliver it to Akito. So, we also know that Hikari kind of admires Akito as well, but Hikari's afraid of making Saya upset, and that's why she gets to play the person who tries to bring two people together, so Saya and Akito. And we're seeing all these past memories of the different attempts, like we just got past one where Hikari had Saya and Akito drink the same cup, and now we've come to one where it's going to be like the princess and prince idea. So Saya is in trouble and Akito gets to save Saya. So let's see how this attempt goes, and I wonder what Akito's going to say about this one. So, let's see. So, oh, there you go.
さや、アキトが来たら落ちそうになってるふりするんだよ。私が手を離すから下でアキトに受け止めてもらうの。
So I'm gonna push you off. I'm gonna let you go, and then you're gonna fall. And then, if you trust Akito, he'll catch you. How's that?
危なくないかな。うまくいったらお姫様抱っこだよ。
Oh, come on. If it's like well, if it works correctly, Akito will catch you and break your fall. So you should trust Akito if you really want to be with him.
お姫様抱っこ。やる。
Oh, I'll do it because I'll be treated like a princess.
よし。
Okay, good. Hey, you two up there already? So Akito's there waiting to catch Saya.
来たよ、早く。
Okay, let's hurry up. Okay. Oh. So I think they should let this one go because as little kids, it feels dangerous and... Hey, what's going on?
アキト、大変だよ。さやがまた落ちそうになってるの。お願い助けて。
Okay. Okay, so they're acting. Okay, hang on, Saya. Hey, Saya!
待って、来ないでアク。風です。スカートが。さや、パンツ丸見えになってる。見ないで。
Okay, so Saya kicks Akito. That's not a good thing to do if you want someone to save you. Hey, settle down. Come on, don't kick me.
やだ。危ない、本当に落ちるって、さや。
So Akito manages to catch Saya, and I wonder how Saya feels.
さや、大丈夫？
Are you okay?
大丈夫。
Well, I guess I'm okay. Uh...
アキト、しっかりしろ、アキト。
I think the problem is that Saya's too heavy, and when she fell into Akito's hands, he couldn't carry the weight of Saya, and he fell over. Oh, I remember. So I stopped Saya from falling, but I hit my head and got a huge lump. And I wonder if the teacher Miharu found out about it and got angry again. So I just glared at Hikari. Like, yeah, so I got injured from that.
ほら、ナイスアシストだったでしょうに。
But it was good, wasn't it? Hey, you're chill about this. So you have a ruinous inability to help people with love. You should quit. Okay, so like that was a really bad thing to do. Anyways, so Hikari reeled back with a hand on her chest at my cold words.
でも、あの後サヤ喜んでたよ。アキトが命がけで助けてくれたって。
But still, wasn't she happy about it? Of course I did. Well, what would you have done if something else happened? Well, I didn't want to see Saya get hurt. I'll do anything to stop that.
あっくんのこと前より好きになっちゃったって言って赤くなってるサヤ可愛かったよ。
Okay? Oh, come on. I have to admit, it was cute. So at least he enjoyed all those reactions from Saya and her call for help. So Saya's always cute. The only thing I could think of cuter than Saya was Kotaro as a puppy.
はあ、いいなあ。私がサヤと付き合いたいよ。そしたら毎日いい子いい子するのに。
But Saya's cute and I wish I could date her. I'll give her everything that I can offer. Hey, could you have assisted with those words as well?
あの言葉？
What do you mean, those words? Like when you said you were tired of looking at the stars. And the smile left Hikari's face. It looked like I was right.
サヤとアキトがうまくいかないのって私のせいかもしれないって思ってて。それで。
So I got angry. Oh, so you were trying your best to bring us closer, but you did so in a really bad way and it made me feel upset. It's like Hikari knew everything I wanted to say from my reproachful gaze.
ごめん。そのせいでアキトを傷つけちゃったんだよね。
Yeah, I got hurt. I thought you were my best friend, but it hurt when you betrayed me like that.
ごめんなさい。
So Hikari apologized dejectedly.
もう引っ越すの決まってたし、それなら私がアキトから離れればサヤとうまくいくんじゃないかって思ったの。
There you go. So I mentioned this in the last episode. So Hikari's like, well, I'm gonna move anyways. And there's no point of me being together with you people. So I think it's best that I try to bring both of you closer together.
うまくいってほしかったの、二人に。私がいなくなった後も仲良く幸せでいてほしかったから。
But so I swallowed the words I was about to say.
わかってるよ。そんなのは私のエゴの押し付けだって。
So you don't have to be sorry, you know. So you were thinking of Saya and me, right? And I'm happy about that. Well, how I really understood why Hikari did what she did. Well, so I finally reached the real subject, but I was not feeling very good about it. I opened the letter and read it again. So I'll be waiting in our usual spot on the bridge tomorrow. I would really like to hear your answer. And I never read the letter. So of course I had never replied to Saya. So while Saya was waiting at the bridge, nobody came. So he gave this letter back to Saya, right? So what did she say? So it looked hard for Hikari to say.
やっぱちょっとショック受けてたかな。
So basically Saya's upset like, oh, so I wrote this and Akito never saw it. And it's still unopened.
でもそんなでもなかったよ。拍子抜けした感じで。
There you go. So she's more upset that Akito never read the letter.
そうだったんだ。ごめんね、さや。私が渡すときにちゃんと言っておかなかったから。光が謝ることじゃないよ。名前書いておかなかった私が悪いんだし。私に自分で渡す勇気があればよかったんだし。
Okay. It's like, well, I feel bad that I had to have you deliver this letter to him. I should have done myself because it makes more sense. And maybe if I gave the letter directly to Akito, he might have been more inclined to read it.
振られたわけじゃなかったんだ。絶対泣くって思ってたから、ちょっと意外だった。
It's like, well, at least Akito didn't say no, so maybe there's still a chance for me to get back to Akito. But that was 4 years ago. It was a lot of Saya. It was a lot from Saya to ask you to give me the letter. It was when we were kids. A time when we liked each other because we ran fast on sports day on our voice. Or let's see. Or our voice was pretty when we read a poem in class. It wasn't surprising that Hikari had been so eager to recover this letter. If this love letter from back then came to light only now, Saya was the one that would be hurt the most. No wonder Hikari had tried to steal it. So look at the letter, I felt a little sad. Saya had been waiting for my reply down at the bridge that day. The bridge where we had always met and gone to watch the stars. And that bridge isn't even there anymore. So thinking that Saya's young crush disappeared along with it makes me sad. So I wonder, how long did Saya wait at the bridge for me who never showed up? I'm sure she waited for a while. A long time, sad and lonely. And that's the kind of girl Saya is. So Saya and I became estranged after that. So we were too old as boys and girls to play together, and you were gone, Hikari, so I always thought that was why,
さやはアキトに振られたって思ってたんだよ。
So by not showing up, it kind of gave that big no answer to Saya. Oh boy. So will you help me with something then? So I want to apologize to Saya.
そうだね。二人のためなら何だってするよ。
Well, thanks, Hikari. It was times like this that I was really grateful to have such a forgiving friend.
その前にさ。
And so Hikari said this suddenly calm.
私にも軽く謝ってもらってもいいかな。
For what? There you go. For what?
前に あんたがその手紙の話した時さ、私があんたに振られたみたいな空気にしたじゃない。
What? So, explain. Hey, there's something I want to ask. So, do you still like me? I can't believe Hikari picked up on that very readily. Oh, so I did say that. But I had thought it was Hikari's love letter, so I couldn't help it. But remembering it is still embarrassing.
結構傷ついたんだよ。でもさやの手前、本当のこと言えないし。
So the problem is that by having Hikari deliver the letter to Akito thought it was written by Hikari and he mistaken it. So Saya's effort pretty much went to waste.
なんで告白したわけでもないのに振られなきゃいけないのよ。もう。
Well, I got it. So I bowed my head and apologized.
許す。
I don't think Hikari really took it deep into her heart. Hikari forgave me with a grumpy face. Okay, so the new year was upon us. And for the first 3 days, I didn't do anything. Even the so-called convenience store was closed for the New Year's. I stayed in my room on New Year's Day and also ate New Year's food from the Saotomes. So my late mother's New Year's cooking was white miso flavor, but the Saotomes was a thin soy base. And let's see. So there were nicely brown chicken in a plain soup, so it was a new flavor for me to try. So after that, I said my prayers with Miharu-san at a nearby shrine. Oh, okay. So it kind of feels that he's part of the Saotome family, and I wonder how Akito feels about that, because I'm pretty sure he's trying to avoid being pushed into marrying his old teacher, Miharu-san. And yes, the prayer thing that was in the very beginning at LoveKami, the original, and that was because the story took place starting at New Year's Day. So even though she was stingy and giving money, she prayed seriously. And the second was more the same. The third day was the problem. So I visited my relatives who were my guardians. And the reason I didn't go on New Year's Day was because I didn't want to break up the family spirit. I was being considerate, but also part of me didn't think I could stand it myself. So I think the problem is that, well, he should have went with his relatives to the shrine for prayers instead of the Saotome folks, because he's not part of their family. And if I remember from LoveKami the original, the mother Matsuri was upset that the father wasn't home on New Year's Day. He went off into his overseas adventure, and the mother's like, well, this is multiple times that's happened. Once again, he doesn't want to arrive home, so this New Year's Day is kind of incomplete without him. But obviously, you know what happens next. It's like right when they're about to go to the shrine for prayers, something happens, and that's where the LoveKami story begins. So I had to at least pay a visit though. I visited my relative's house around noon, told them how things were at my place, and then went home. The first three days of the New Year's had passed like that, and then it was the night of the 4th of January. and the convenience store opens today. I work my part-time job from morning until night. I looked at my watch. It was almost closing time. And fidgeting, I watched outside the window. I heard a train arrive at the station. And after a while, a person's shadow passed by the window. Okay, so Hikari's still here. I was thinking that this is when Hikari had already left with her father. I was relieved that Hikari had come first. And Kotaro signals that, oh, it's Hikari that's here. But it's been 4 days. Well, I'm pretty sure Hikari doesn't mind getting fur all over her, compared to Saya. But anyways, Kotaro likes it. It's like, oh, that's good. More. So what's she doing? Hikari was playing with Kotaro and not coming inside. I stood there fidgeting. So what does he want to talk to Hikari about that he really wants her to come in right away? So Kotaro's barking got high-pitched. As I moved my gaze to the window, I saw Saya walking up. Oh man, so now Saya's here. Hearing my heart pound, I got my poker face ready to greet her. And same with Kotaro. I was relieved for now that Saya didn't come in on her own. This was the first time I'd seen Saya since Hikari's going away party. The situation with the letter was bad, so I hadn't called her, and Saya must have been busy as she hadn't shown up at the store. And the only communication we had shared was a few text messages. Well, at least Saya's talking to Akito versus before where she's been quiet. Well, Happy New Year, you too. Well, I wanted to make a New Year's card, but you don't want one, so... Well, it's okay. I don't like writing replies. And that was it. Saya's family always gathered at her grandmother's house for New Year's celebrations. Every year, Saya helped her mother greet her relatives for the first 3 days of the New Year's. And now they come in. Well, it's your fault for staying out there too long. Hello, welcome. I greet them with a grumpy voice, or like, hello, welcome. I was a little annoyed of being ignored. Happy New Year! Have a good one. No, same as always. Saya brought over a shopping bag. So here's some rice cakes. So, no oden today. Thanks. I'm jealous, I want some too. Hikari looked at the bag greedily. Well, I'll be done soon, so can you wait over there? You want some coffee then? While you wait? I'll pass, because I don't want to make all those restroom visits. I made a coffee for each of them and brought it over. Sitting down in chairs in the cafe corner, they wrapped their hands around the cups to warm themselves. So how was it? Have you seen any?
まだわかんない。私もまだ一つも見てない。
I see. So I wonder about this year. I said this looking at the blacklist outside. It was the 4th of January, the best day for the quadrantid meteor shower. The three of us were going to watch it tonight. So meteor showers had a peak time where you could hopefully see many shooting stars. And there were predictions for the peak time every year, and the prediction for the quadrantid's peak time this year was today. And that was my excuse to meet Saya and my mission to apologize about the letter. And when I thought of Saya's personality, she'd probably cry if the letter was brought up. I was not confident I could apologize well either, so I wanted a quiet place that we could talk. It was my idea to have Hikari here so things seemed normal when we met and to help out if things got weird. Okay, so Saya might cry or she might get mad at me. And it would be my own fault if she hated me then, but Saya got hurt. I wanted someone to comfort her. And the only person that can't do this work is Hikari. So I made a plan to watch the meteor shower. Well, I'm sure we had gotten together even without the letter. Hikari would be leaving Japan the day after tomorrow. And it could be a very long time until the three of us had another chance to watch the stars together. Okay, so it was time for the store to close. The only customers in the store were Hikari and Saya. Okay, so I'm closing up, so just wait.
わかった。
Okay, so we climbed onto the roof of the car, laid out a sheet, and laid down wrapped sleeping bags and blankets. And this was the right way to watch a meteor shower. And looking up hurts your neck, and it's too cold to just stand outside. Also, you don't know where the meteors will pass by, so it's best to be able to see the whole sky, or basically from all angles. The meteor showers all have names like Leonids or Leonids and Gemnids. And they're named after, like, for the radiant point, the place in the sky that they fell from, and which constellation that's closest to. So usually it's best to look at the constellation that is near the radiant point, but in reality, meteors could appear anywhere in the sky. And when I was little, I used to try and watch the radiant point with a telescope. However, I remember being disappointed that I never caught a meteor in the narrow field of view. By the way, one would assume the radiant point for the quadrantid meteor shower would be Quadrant Moralis. But that's not actually the case. The Quadrant Moralis constellation isn't recognized anymore. So it's named after a quadrant, a fan-shaped device that can measure the altitude of a celestial body. However, Quadrant Moralis was left out of today's recognized 88 constellations, but the name has been preserved in the name of the meteor shower. So I think what happened was that the stars, they probably changed. So stars probably exploded, they died, and now it's not really a constellation anymore. Or maybe because due to the Earth's rotation or anything rotating, it now doesn't look like a quadrant. So the quadrantid's radiant point is closest to Draco, so it's also sometimes called the meteor shower of Draco.
あんまり流れないね。
Well, it'll pick up soon, won't it?
あ、今流れた。
And Sai sees one.
え、嘘、どこどこ？
Where?
もう消えちゃったよ。私の頭の上の方。見逃した。
I missed it. So usually when watching meteor showers, each person watches a different angle and counts the meters they see. But this time, we were just watching for fun, so we weren't so strict about where we were looking. But still, it was a habit of astronomers to naturally divide the sky. So the peak time this year was already this afternoon, so we shouldn't get our hopes up. The quadrantids, along with the Perseids and the Geminids, are known as the three most active meteor showers. But for the quadrantids, the peak time is only a few hours long, so having those few hours fall during the day was a bit disappointing.
もうそろそろ月も沈んでる頃だよね。
Uh-oh, the moon's gonna come in. It's going to block out the view. As with all astronomical observations, moonlight gets in the way of meteor watching. The number of meters you can see changes depending on if the moon is out or not.
光、どうかした？うん。
So Hikari answered gloomily.
星の中の空もずいぶん暗くなったなって。
So I feel that this place has changed a lot and it's not really perfect for astronomy anymore.
前にもさ、四分ギザ流星群見たじゃない？あの時はもっと星が見えてた気がする。
So the problem is that now that there's more developments, the cities are bigger, the light from the city is pretty much blocking the view of the sky. There you go. So Hoshinaka City had grown quickly in the last few years. And compared to when Hoshino City and Amano Naka City were separate, the roads had improved and there were more streetlights. There were also more shops open late, and there were more bright signs than before. Even the Saotome shop was now the stop and buy convenience store. And therefore the night sky was darker than before. Some of the fainter stars had been erased by the city lights, as if they were hiding somewhere.
この間の観測会の夜はすごくいっぱい星が見えたじゃない。
So I think it was because it was Christmas Eve and most of the places are closed. So that means fewer lights and, you know.
そうだね。綺麗だったね。
And you know how it goes. Hikari smiles slightly, remembering the bright, starry sky of the night.
あんな夜もあるんだから、まだまだ捨てたもんじゃないね。
But still, all hope isn't lost. There's still some places that, or like it's still dark enough to see the sky. So maybe even special nights like that would be swallowed someday by the lights of the city. It was like I could feel her thoughts hidden behind her smile. Well, it can be helped. To gain something, you lose something. That's how it is. I said this logically, but it didn't make me feel better. And what did it matter to most people that the sky was darker or that you could see less meteors? Well, it's like, for people that are not astronomy, they don't really care if the city is blooming with more street lights, city lights, anything. To them, what we gained in return was much greater. However, when I looked at the slightly darker sky and thought of the stars I couldn't see anymore, I couldn't help feeling sad. I worried that one day I won't be able to see anything at all. So no more stars.
やっぱ行くのやめようかな。
So I wonder what's going on. Hikari said suddenly.
アキトとサヤとまた遊ぶようになったって話したらね。お父さんが無理してついてくることないぞって。
So I was like, well, I was kind of sad that I'm going to leave, and I brought it up to my dad, and it looks like he's okay with me staying here, just for my friends. Okay.
帰ってくる頃にはここから見る夜空が今夜よりも暗く
So when I come
寂しくな
back,
ってるかもしれない。
okay, so Hikari's worried that when I come back after my trip, it may not, like, there might not be the Six Stars Club anymore because it's gonna be too dark to even see anything. And, or like, it'll still run, but it's not gonna feel the same anymore, and
今ならまだ取り消せる。アキトと
I'm sorry, I went too fast. Well, if she could stay, it would be great. Well, I'm sure that Saya and I felt the same way.
お父さんのこと大事にしなよ。
Well, that's right. So that's why you decide to go, isn't it? Yes. So still lying down, Hikari looked at me with a sulking face. So, why that face?
だって二人とも止めてくれないんだもん。冷たい。今の気温みたいに冷たい。
Well, the problem is that Saya and Akito can only give some guidance, advice, but they can't help Hikari decide what she wants to do. And it's up to Hikari to figure out, okay, do I want to follow my dad and move, or should I just say, I'd rather stay here and be here with Saya and Akito? She spoke like a spoiled child. But Saya and I had reasons for not stopping her. So both my parents died in an accident, and Saya's parents are divorced, so Saya hadn't seen her father in many years. So in a sense, both Akito and Saya don't really know what it's like to have a father around.
光がついてきてくれないとお父さんすごく寂しがると思うよ。
So will he be lonely?
うん。
I guess. Hikari's father was crazy about his two daughters. He had an especially soft spot for Hikari, the youngest. So I wonder what's wrong with the older sister. But then again, when we first saw her, she was quite arrogant. And it's like, well, I don't like this place anymore. I'm happy to be moving to a bright city with lights and lots of modern facilities. Hikari was always a daddy's girl. The reason she liked trains was because her father was a railway man.
離れててもずっと友達だよ。さや。
Hikari, so even if you go, we won't forget you. And just as I said this in a cool voice, a meteor streak right in front of our eyes.
ちょっと、何今のタイミング。私が死んじゃったみたいじゃん。
Wait a minute, so why did it have to come at this moment? Goodbye, Hikari.
あなたの分も強く生きていくからね。もう、二人ともバカバカ。せっかく人がしんみりといい話してんのに茶化さないでよ。
Come on, you're making me feel bad with all this talk. Ha ha ha. Sorry?
いつもふざけてるのに急に真面目な話するからなんか照れくさくて。もういいもん。
Whatever.
ごめんね、光。よしよし、いい子いい子。
And I like how Saya's trying to calm Hikari down, whereas it's usually the other way. Saya was patting Hikari's gloomy head. It was the opposite of what normally happened. There you go. And the idea that we wouldn't be able to do this anymore makes us sad.
ねえ、次流星が流れたらみんなで何か願い事しようよ。どんな願い事？
What kind of wish? Well, right. So how about that we can all watch the quadrantids here together again?
それいい。
Hey, but it's best to keep wish secret. Just like what happened with Chisa and Hiroki in Adventure of a Lifetime. So there was actually one part where they're trying to remember the past, where they saw all these meteors in the sky, and they end up making a wish. So in that place, the big advantage is that the Ogasawara Islands, it's not developed as much as this place, and because of that, the sky is not too dark and they can see all the stars. And it's one of the things that makes Hiroki envious of Chisa, given that she has this all the time versus him, who's from mainland Tokyo.
そうしよう。
So we hadn't wished on a falling star since we were little kids. We waited in stillness for the next star to fall.
今流れたよ。見た？見た。カペラのそば、すごく明るかった。
Hey, it was brighter than Capella. So Capella's the alpha star of Auriga. It's a first magnitude star, and its name means little goat. And to have been brighter than that, it must have been a pretty big meteor. So meteors are matter from space that crash into the Earth's atmosphere, and they can be as small as grains of sand. However, the bigger they are, the more light they emit. They can sometimes be bright enough to light up on like the night sky like it was daytime.
そうだ、願い事しなきゃ。
Okay, so wish. Surprised by the unexpectedly bright meteor, we quickly close our eyes.
またこの場所で3人揃って。
May-
流星群が見られますように。
With our eyelids closed, we all sincerely made our wish. So, compared to Chisa and Hiroki, they all have one wish and they want to make it together. And the wish was our promise. We have vowed that on the shooting star that we will meet here again. And it was just before dawn. The sky had just begun to whiten from the south. The sky had been hidden by mist for a time, which had made us fall asleep, bundled on the car. When we all woke up, we started preparing for breakfast. We simmered some instant soup in a little pot, making an improvised zoni with rice cakes I got from Saya.
いい匂い。
So the rice cakes will take a little longer to cook. What do you want to do then, Saya?
中で髪の毛直してる。
Okay. So morning had come while we were watching the meteor shower, but I hadn't forgotten the real reason I am here. And now, here's my chance. So Hikari... put up her index finger wordlessly. She poked her head into the entrance of the car and spoke to Saya.
さや、私ちょっと野の花を摘みに行ってくるね。
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the fields and pick up some wildflowers. Hey, can you come with a better excuse? It's like, well, that kind of sounds fishy, and it makes Saya a little bit suspicious.
本当じゃないからね。
Well, the thing is that Hikari should come up with something that's more believable than going to the fields.
じゃあね、グッドラック。
Hikari slapped me on the back and ran to the forest. and at the same time, Saya comes out. Her hair was set prettily.
何か手伝うことある？
So, you need any help? Right. So, I'm just happy if you talk to me.
いいよ。
Saya came and plopped down next to me on the ground. She took a peek into the simmering pot. And she seemed as innocent as ever, and it made me a little bit nervous.
さすがに朝は冷えるね。
But it's cold in the morning. Yeah, well, being here this early reminds me of back then. So back when we made our planetary observation journal, we used to stay up until dawn and come here to observe the morning stars. But there was no sign of Venus this morning. So at this time, Venus was following the sun, so the only time to see it would be dusk, a so-called evening stay, or evening star. So I tried to figure the best timing as I kept the rice cakes from sticking to the pot with a spoon. And although I couldn't quite seem to speak. So I was looking at me as to say, so what do you want to talk to me? Like, what do you want to talk with me about? So hey Saya.
Huh?
Well, I owe you an apology. Saya tilted her head to the side with confusion. So what I mean is that I was finding it difficult to put into words. So I pulled out the thing that had been hidden in the pocket and showed it to Saya. So I'm pretty sure it's the love letter. There you go. So, I read this. Not sort of. Saya seemed shocked for a moment, but went quiet like she didn't know how to reply. I'm sorry. Still sealed, I leaned towards Saya.
やっぱり、アキトくんが拾ってたんだ。
Oh, so you did pick it up. I remember you were talking about how I dropped it. I thought Saya would be upset, but it seemed she already knew. And that's why she had stayed away from the store so long.
でも、どうして謝るの？
So why are you apologizing? So I just read the letter when I found it, and I thought you might be annoyed to have a letter you wrote 4 years ago to be read just now. That's true. Saya looked troubled. And also, you waited for a long time, did you, Saya, on that bridge? Saya nodded.
待ってたよ。あっくんが来るの。
Well, it's because I didn't read the letter when I got it, so I'm sorry.
でも、あっくんが謝ることじゃないよ。だって、自由だもん。
But then again, you didn't have to read the letter, you can choose not to.
もらった手紙を読まないのも、読んで、返事しないのも。
There you go. So, aren't I free to apologize then?
うん、そうだね。
So I was surprised when I read it. I didn't think you felt that way about me. Well, at that time, I didn't see her as a girl. It was all the more unexpected because she was my closest friend.
私、ずっと振られたんだって思ってた。
So by not coming, it kind of felt like you were going to say no to me. And
あっくん、来なかったから。あっくんのこと困らせちゃったって。
so that's why you avoided me after Hikari left. Saya nodded. I had thought my estrangement from Saya was because Hikari was gone, or because she was embarrassed to hang out with the boys at that age. But Saya's reasons were completely different. It was extremely simple. She avoided me because she thought she had been turned down. Well, I'm really sorry. I apologize again. And Saya was such an important friend, I can't believe I made her feel that way.
悪いのはちゃんと自分で渡せなかった私だし。
Well,
君が謝ることじゃないよ。
it is kind of my fault because when I had Hikari deliver it to you, it kind of looked like it was Hikari who wrote the letter.
違ったんだね。振られたわけじゃなかったんだ。
Well, you can't be angry at me, you know.
何を怒るの？
Well, I don't know, like, you made me wait, or whatever. But then I guess it's like, well, I can understand because you thought the letter was written by Hikari. Or like, how can you bring up that now? It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense.
わかんないよ、怒り方なんて。
Yeah, well, you're the kind one, Saya. Puffing out her cheeks and glaring was the angriest Saya could ever look. Or, could you hit me? Wait, don't women slap men in the face at times like this?
されたいの？
Well, I think Saya's too kind to do it compared to Hikari. Hey, don't look at me like I'm a pervert. I was just speaking in hypotheticals.
わかった。する。
Well, I'll give you one then. Saya said this like she was a little eager. She raised her right hand and gave a practice swing, but didn't look powerful at all. Come on, just snap your wrist more.
こう？
She made a wishing sound that sounded like it had some power. Yeah, well, that's the way. And the fact that I was the one getting smacked, but I was showing her how to do it actually made me feel like some kind of weirdo. But I thought Saya would have feel better if it had a good sound to it.
じゃあ、行くよ。
Okay, bring it. Saya drew her hand way back, and she brought her palm with a snap. Waiting for the coming attack, I closed my eyes in response. And the attack, however, was not what I expected. A soft, enveloping feeling. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is a good place to end this episode. So we're going to see what Saya actually does instead of giving Akito the usual whack like Hikari or maybe Karuna. But then again, Hikari's kind of like, I would say like she's like the A Sky Full of Stars version of Ageha from If My Heart Had Wings. And like Ageha, Hikari's like this tomboy, she's rowdy, she's prone to using physical gestures. So, anyways, I wonder what's going to happen to Hikari going from here because Hikari is having second thoughts about moving with her father to Malaysia just so that she could be with her father and his work being a rail person. Because even though Hikari is quite happy to be going with her father, she's quite sad that she's going to lose all this when she comes back. And even though the Six Stars Club might still be around with Saya, Akito, and some of the other people, and maybe new signups as well, new members, it's not going to be the same because the environment changes quite frequently. And with more developments, more lights, a bigger city, it's going to make it nearly impossible to do astronomy. But we'll see how it goes from here. And I wonder how far I am before this Divergence route ends and it splits off into the Hikari route or the Saya route. And with that in mind, I'll see you later.